So our producers informed me that we already have some feedback and reaction to the show.
How is that possible? This is our first episode.
Yeah, that's true. I guess we've made a big name for ourselves.
Right.
Producer, what is this feedback?
Well, it's they think it's weird that you don't introduce yourselves on the first episode, and they don't know what this is.
I don't want them to know who we are.
Yeah, we're anonymous.
Yeah.
Well, they also struggle with why they should give a shit because you guys are just two random guys who don't even introduce themselves, so why should they care what you think?
I gotta be honest.
Who the hell are they?
Yeah, I'm wondering why I give a shit what they think.
Yeah.
Well, and then an idea is maybe reach out to some bars or restaurants and see if they let you guys go in, eat a nice meal, mention the restaurant on the show. You could have a different place, sponsors.
Now, I got to cut you off right there. We come to the same place every week because we like it here. We like the food. We like the service. We don't want to go to other places.
Not only do I not want to go to another restaurant to do this, I don't even order a different meal. The same thing every week. I'm done with it.
Enough of this.
Can we just move on to the topics
I think
here?
so, yeah. I think so.
I'm wondering what you're thinking about Trump and the North Korean issue. And I'm particularly wondering because all week I've been turning on CNN, MSNBC, and the whole game seems to be trying to make me shit my pants. So I'll admit, Trump's done some things that are unconventional. And I'm not really sure what to think of this.
You're talking about his tweets?
Yeah.
Because I didn't really follow it this week. I wanted a week of downtime, of peace and quiet for like the first time in 2 years. So I tuned out, and then I hear that there may be a nuclear hellfire coming.
Possibly.
With North Korea.
Well, I'll show you this article that really goes through some of Trump's tweets. Apparently, while Rex Tillerson, his Secretary of State, was trying to engage in some type of diplomacy, maybe ensure a peaceful process, Trump was tweeting out things like, "Hey Rex, don't bother with little Rocket Man," and things like, "Rex, I told you they're not going to be responsible. I'll take care of it." And he was just completely undermining and undercutting him the whole time.
So there are two possibilities here, right? Either they're playing good cop, bad cop, and Trump is trying to be the bad cop, and Rex is going in like, "Guys, I'm trying to calm him down." And he's talking to the North Koreans. "I'm trying to calm him down, but he's crazy. He could do anything."
So you think he's just trying to play a really bad cop?
Well, maybe, but if I'm wrong, then we may have a nuclear Armageddon.
So I wasn't sure what to think about this, and this also is kind of consistent with his past behavior, mentioning fire and fury. Didn't he go give a speech at the UN where he specifically called out Kim Jong-un? And he's doing all of this.
Yeah, that's the Rocket Man thing.
That's where he started with the Rocket Man, but now he's
And
continuing.
then there was that picture of his chief of staff, Kelly, with just like his face in his hands.
Just completely
sitting
distraught. But this is what made me think that this is part of a bigger strategy that he has. And maybe he's not just spouting off at the mouth. Look what he did yesterday in this video.
You guys know what this represents?
Well,
I don't remember, it's the calm before the storm.
what's the storming?
Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm is
We
the
have the
president?
world's great military people in this room, I will tell you that. And we're going to have a great evening. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Give us a hint on your answer.
Thank you, everybody.
For absolutely no reason, he just looks at the media and decides to have chaos sprout.
Right.
So, what do you think of this whole storm comment?
Well, I read something the other day where he was talking about, I think China or somebody, and one of his aides suggested, well, we'll tell them they have until the end of the month. And he's like, no, don't tell them they have until the end of the month. Tell them I could pull out at any time from these negotiations. Anytime. Right now. In fact, I'm going to do it. I might do it. Right now.
So this goes with actually what I'm thinking. Maybe this is part of a brilliant strategy. He wants Rex Tillerson, his Secretary of State, to be able to go back in diplomatic negotiations with North Korea and say, well, you think your president's crazy? Our guy is straight up unhinged. You better behave because we can't control this guy. He's a nut.
But then why is he calling Rex an asshole? And why is Rex calling him a moron?
Maybe that all goes with the show. Or maybe they actually
So
hate
these
each
guys
other.
are either like geniuses. They planned this out.
Right.
They're like, you're going to be the good cop, bad cop, and no.
Or good cop and crazy
people
cop.
will think we don't even get along.
Right.
People will be like, I'm on a short, I'm on thin ice with this guy,
Right.
and anything could happen. So if that's true, they're brilliant.
Right.
But if we're wrong, then the two men who are in charge of deciding whether or not we end up burning in nuclear hellfire next week can't stand each other.
Maybe that's the storm.
And can't have a working relationship.
Maybe that's the storm he was referring to in the storm. Well, look,
I'll tell you what I like about this. I'm sick and tired of people pretending to get along when they clearly don't like each other. And it's something people in politics do all the time with the bipartisanship line.
the fake bipartisanship.
Yeah, they always use the bipartisanship line. We're going to work together, in a bipartisan way. We've got to bring people together.
Let me ask you, why do they think that citizens and voters actually care if they get along?
They don't. I don't think anyone does. I think people want them to accomplish certain goals, like, run the country properly.
No, but why?
I don't care about whether you get along.
Right.
Just do the job.
But they're all really convinced about this bipartisan. In fact, this whole point you're bringing up reminds me of the debate that was going on a couple weeks ago with healthcare. You remember the Graham Cassidy bill?
Yeah, they're all up there, and they're like, this bill is going to kill millions of people.
Right.
But don't hold it against that senator over there.
We
He's
get
a
along.
good man.
We all get along.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, and this really bothered me during the, I don't know if you watched, Amy Klobuchar, Senator Amy Klobuchar and Bernie Sanders were debating against Graham and Cassidy about the healthcare bill. And they brought up, and I think they're right, that the bill itself could lead to the deaths of thousands of people because they'll be uninsured. But they all went out of their way to say how much they get along. In fact, let me show you this clip of how Amy Klobuchar ends the debate.
And the bill, and I think you can tell we like each other up here, right? But this bill doesn't help those people.
So I watch this and I'm thinking,
It's ridiculous.
why the fuck do they think that anyone cares if they're going to go to the club later and get a meal together? And I don't want to just attack Amy Klobuchar. They all did it. Even my favorite, Bernie Sanders, I love him dearly. I think he was right. I think he crushed it in the debate. But even he did this. In fact, he starts the debate by doing this. Here, take a look at this.
And let us be clear, these are wonderful gentlemen, and I know nobody up here wants to see anybody die.
No, this bullshit has to stop, okay? These people don't like each other. They don't get along. And you can't have it both ways. You can't be like, this guy wants to kill millions of people, but he's a good person.
So
It's either one or the other.
So, if I hear you correctly, and I think I agree, Bernie's message is actually undercut. If Bernie's message is, hey, this healthcare bill is a disaster, and I think he's right, and it could lead to deaths and people being uninsured, higher prices for insurance, all this terrible stuff, right? His message is undercut if then you also add, well, I like these gentlemen and we really get along and we're friends and they're good people.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, if you have a group of people who are making all kinds of decisions for the rest of society behind closed doors, and then the doors open and they walk out and they're all holding hands and smiling at you and saying everything is great because these people over here are wonderful,
Yeah.
I would be very suspicious.
Yeah, so I actually agree. So bipartisanship, that's when you should be the most scared. Let's take a look.
That's when you're getting fucked the most.
That's when you're getting fucked by both sides at the
Yes.
same time.
Trump doesn't even get along with the people he hired.
No, and there's something beautiful about that. And take a look at what
Of course,
passes.
we might all die in a nuclear.
Sure, which is terrible.
So there's a trade-off.
I suppose there's a trade-off when you look at it like that. But I was just going to point out, when you take a look at the stuff that passes with bipartisanship support, that's the stuff that's fucking you over the most. You got tax cuts for the rich. That always seems to pass without much debate. Bipartisan.
The military stuff always passes.
Increase military spending. People are starving. People lost their homes. And you just increased the military budget by, what was it, 80 billion?
Healthcare can't agree on that.
No. So the bipartisan stuff is bad. We don't want that. So there's a sense in which I agree, and I'm kind of glad that Trump has ripped off that lie by just being disagreeable and hating everyone out in the open.
Yeah, no one gets along anymore.
No.
It's fantastic.